Congressman, really good to see you. Sorry about what happened on that roof. What were you doing up there?
I was actually on an extension ladder trimming an oak tree. You know, we had in my district Hurricane Ian come through, so I was about 25 feet up, and the limb broke free, hit me off the extension ladder, and with a chainsaw in my hand, fell down about 25 feet and had a concussion, tore the ligaments in my neck, had a huge contusion in my lungs, and broke my pelvis. But I'm glad to be back in the fight.
Absolutely, man. That's and you know, you're in great shape. That probably helped a lot. And oh, by the way, there's something different about you. I guess it's the beard.
Yeah, everybody thinks I lost weight, but I've lost the beard. We're a little bit of debate whether to bring the beard back or not, but it was tough with the neck collar to have a beard, so we went the clean-shaven look. And according to Twitter, I've lost about 15 years on my age. So.
Okay. Well, looking good. Glad you're back on duty. By the way, you're on that important subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government. Could I get your reaction to the weaponization of the local government? It looks like there's an indictment that's about to go down on President Trump, local prosecutor up here in New York. It's outrageous. Please, what do you think?
Well, it's just insane how far we've come in a short period of time under this woke agenda and progressivism and the politicization and weaponization of our law enforcement and our legal system. And it started with Russia, and the collusion hoax that was perpetrated as a fraud upon the American people, and all the different things that they've gone after Trump. And now they're going to trump up, no pun intended, charges from 7 years ago, which aren't really, there wasn't, even if you agree with the allegations as being true, there's not really a crime that was committed. And this is 100% using and weaponizing a legal system to politically go after their enemies. And I would pause the American people on how far we've come to allow something like this happen on American soil. And of course, it's New York, so that type of thing is very far left progressive Democrat. You wouldn't see something like that happen in the state of Florida, where we have a real justice system. But to see these type of things happen and the weaponization to use for political purposes is beyond the pale.
Yeah, it really is. Listen, I heard Speaker McCarthy say, well, he's going to investigate and possibly see if there are federal funds going to this office. Is there anything that can be done at the federal level that you know of? I mean, it sounds like he's on his own.
Yeah, so Jordan has talked about, Jordan's talked about bringing this DA in before the committee and start asking questions about all of these different trumped up charges and the facts and evidence that support it and how baseless all of these accusations are. So there are some things that we can do, and I know that they're looking into that. Jim said today that they're going to bring that DA in or bring some of those people in and have them testify. I think working your way up to the top is a good idea, and do some depositions on some of these individuals, put them under oath as to the evidence that they're collecting and how they think that any of this supports a charge. I think is a real good use of the ability of the federal government, and thank God that we have the House to be able to use the oversight authority of the House to do these type of investigations.
If they carry through with this, though, I mean, what do they try next? It's scary. I mean, I really, I kind of feel like I did after August 8th. Remember when the FBI went into Mar-a-Lago? What's next? I'm deeply concerned.
I am too, and like, where do they stop? And I think they're so reckless and they're so desperate because they know that the American people don't support their leftist progressive agenda. Again, you're not going to see it in places like Florida at the state level, but you're seeing the federal government use this. And thankfully, we have a Republican House that, hey, if we don't like what the FBI is doing, we can defund the programs that are going on there. Now, we can't do it until October because we had Republicans in the Senate that went with Democrats to fund this omnibus. But come October, guess what? We're in charge of the budget process, and we can determine the appropriations for these different things. And I think we use the power of the appropriations process to achieve policy objectives, and we've got to do that. And I think we have a speaker that is willing to do that. We know that we have committee chairmen like Jim Jordan, other members like myself who are much willing to fight that fight and take that to the American people, because the American people see through this. I don't care what their party affiliation is. They know that investigating and going after Trump on these ridiculous charges is completely politicized. And even independents and Democrats agree with the fact that this isn't the way that the American justice system should work.
So you're an Iraq War veteran. 20 years ago, basically right about now, the invasion was happening. And there you are. I believe this is, you were there 2006, 2007. Hey, what are your thoughts all these years later? No weapons of mass destruction, like we were told by the Bush administration.
Yep.
And, looking back 20 years later, what did we get out of it? I don't think we got anything out of it. We got a lot of grief and a lot of problems. 20 years later, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree with you, and thank you for your service. And same thing with Afghanistan. I've got a guy in my church that's half his unit has committed suicide. They served in Afghanistan. They were in a tough area. They served in Iraq during some of the worst parts of the war. And we've got a lot of hurt soldiers, but not a lot to show for it. And one of the things, the reasons why I haven't supported the things going on in the funding for Ukraine is, what is our mission and purpose there? And that was one of the things we struggled with over there. We had a mission purpose when we were there, and we went out every day and did our job like we were told to do. But now as you look back, what did we accomplish during our time there? And it's pretty disheartening to see that we've pulled out of these places and that we don't really have anything to show for it. Yeah. And my heart goes out to the veterans that have served, and it's one of the reasons why I have my Veteran True Choice bill, to help veterans who have service-connected disabilities to be able to get TRICARE and go anywhere they need to get the health care that they deserve.
Hey, as we say goodnight, Daryl Woody is an Amazon driver who was right there while you were on that big, tall ladder. And I think we have a picture there. Oh, wow. So what happened? Tell us real quick, what was he able to do for you?
So God put Daryl there right at the moment in time when he needed to be standing in front of my front gate. He literally witnessed everything that occurred. He heard the chainsaw going. He heard the limb break free. He saw me busted down. It hit the ladder. I got ejected up into the air. And through God's grace, he was able to call the emergency, call 911, get me in an ambulance, get me out of there. And all the little things that came into place that day, that God put his hand all over that. And I thank God for that and the blessing that I'm still here. And almost fully healed, just still have a little bit of rehab left to do on the pelvis. But to fall 25 feet from a ladder and to be here standing before you today and talking is a blessing.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And hey, next time let's hire a tree guy to take care of that stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll have you pay for it because we can't afford that kind of prices. But absolutely.
All right. Greg Steube, Congressman, Republican of Florida, the 17th District. We appreciate it so much, and we'll be right back.